Am I the butthole for refusing to make my son cut his hair to be in my brother's wedding? Bear with, this is my first post. My 15-year-old son was asked in January to be the flower dude in my brother's wedding, which will be ended of this month. Since then, my stl has made frequent comments to my son along the lines of, so what are we going to do about this hair? He has thick, curly hair that he's been growing out for a little while now. He's got a gold photo we've been showing to his hairdresser. A couple weeks ago I texted my brother to let him know that we will groom and style his hair, and use product to tame it, but I was not going to make him cut his hair. At that time, my brother said that was fine. Then he told me his fiancée wants to take my son to her hairdresser for a trial run on his hairstyle. Side note, won't go into the entire history, but I've had issues with her need to dictate and control, including one time she told my brother he couldn't accompany my son to the ER for stitches unless she could go too. I told him I'd make sure we did the trial run on my son's hair. He then wrote that fiancé wanted final approval. I said I'd make sure he looked nice on their wedding day. Then a few days ago my stepfather wrote my son, telling him he would not be getting fitted for his tux until his hair was cut. His exact words were, no decent haircut, no tuxedo fitting, you will not be in the wedding but seated in the general audience with your family. That is the result of no haircut. Got it? My mother is also firmly on the haircut side. She feels I should make my son cut off his hair because it's a very formal wedding, and claimed we should have known that was the rule from the beginning. I finally texted her back and stated had we been told that was a condition of being in the wedding, my son could have declined then. Instead he was subjected to several months of passive-aggressive remarks until I finally addressed it. So now it's really blown up. At this point we aren't even going, because to me, kicking family out of a wedding party for refusing to alter his appearance when he has had this hair for years, is ridiculous. My family thinks I'm unreasonable for not forcing my son to cut his hair. Am I the butthole? Not the butthole. Bridezilla needs to get over herself. I wouldn't go to the wedding either. This is a very ridiculous situation. If I had a nephew I loved, I'd want him in my wedding regardless of what he looked like. Poor kid. Tell him his hair is awesome. Original poster replies. Thanks. I hate that it's turned into this, but I felt pretty piled on once my parents got involved. His hair looks gorgeous when he has curl enhancing product on it. It doesn't matter what your parents say. What does your brother say? Original poster replies. The past few weeks when we texted about it, he initially said it didn't have to be cut, they just wanted a formal look, which is totally cool. Trimming and product make it look very nice. But then when I kept asking when he was supposed to get fitted for his tux, he wouldn't reply, and had my mother get hold of me to tell me she would let me know when and where to get him fitted. Then a few days later came the message from my stepdad. Dang, I feel bad for your brother, seems like he married into a super controlling family, but since he's an adult there's really not much you can do besides try to keep things civil. It's not an older son, it's a brother of original poster. Original poster's brother is getting married, and her 15-year-old son is the one with the curly hair. Wait, I didn't realize he was 15. WTF? They're treating him like he's 3. But it's also unacceptable to force a 3-year-old to get a haircut they don't want. Everyone deserves agency over their own hair. Edit. Some of you commenters have never met a 3-year-old and it shows. They are absolutely old enough to make choices, including their haircut. It's literally battery and assaults where I'm from to cut someone's hair against their will. You can also very easily teach a child they won't always get their way by not buying them a toy or telling them sorry we can't go to the park today. Good on you for standing up for your son. You're not only not the butthole, you're being a good parent by letting your son decide his appearance and hairstyle. Tell your brother directly that this nonsense stops, or none of you will attend. The options available are you help your son style his hair for the day, as he previously said was fine, and there'll be no haircut or harassment from others to approve it. Or none of you go. That's it. If there's any ongoing harassment, from anyone, you and your son will not be going. Tell your parents/SD you are disgusted by their rude harassment and attitude, your brother had agreed to things and was fine, and they need to butt out. Tell them you aren't discussing it further with anyone other than your brother, and that harassment from others will result in you all withdrawing completely and not attending. Starts ignoring and hanging up on them as required. Do not let them talk directly to you, son. Make sure your son knows this is not on him, and that you fully support him not having to cater to Still's ridiculous and crazy demands. Also, maybe time to be blunt with your brother and tell him he maybe isn't making the best choice in bride. If he loves her, and thinks he'll be truly happy with her, then fine, but he will be losing contact and closeness with his family as you aren't exposing yourself or your children to her bullcrap. You won't be pandering to her or giving in to her demands to keep the peace, you just won't see them or engage when required. Arg, why is your brother getting married to his person who is already making life difficult for everyone and starting drama, and she's not even in the family? Not the butthole. It's just hair. Who the F cares how it looks? The most important thing is that family is there to celebrate for F's sake. You're absolutely doing the right thing by sticking up for your son. The only thing I'd recommend is letting your brother know privately what his fiancé and the family have been saying, in case they're trying to paint themselves as the victims. Not the butthole. Is your son mixed? And is your family and the fiancé white? I have the same question. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there is a racial element here. Original poster replies. His bio father is Ashkenazi, I'm white. So possibly anti-Semitic. My best friend is Ashkenazi, and she has lovely black 3B curls. There are definitely formal hairstyles for all hair types and lengths. You are a good parent. I have semi-curly hair that I grow out and then buzz every so often. It's gorgeous and curly when it's at the right length, but once cut it takes months, even a year, to get back to that length. They're asking your kid to spend a year growing his hair for the sake of one single day. The curls sound very much appropriate for a wedding. Honestly, I would stay away from Bridezilla because this must have hurt for your son. And until she decides to stop being a butt, you should stay clear. Sounds like your brother is getting railroaded by a controlling family and is too much of a doormat to put his foot down. Personally, I think this is absolutely a bill to die on. No one should have to change their appearance to appease someone for their wedding. What if it was lose 50 pounds or you're out of the wedding? It's not okay to do to anyone, but especially not a 15-year-old kid. Why people go so insane for weddings is beyond me. It seems bizarre that having a flower dude is no problem for their wedding, but having a flower dude with long hair would be unspeakable. This all seems weirdly infantilizing toward your son. Not the butthole. Forcing children to have their hair cut against their will is a form of abuse. Anyone supporting this does not have your child's best intentions at heart and are coming from a place of selfishness. Remember, a wedding is one of the most important events of a person's life, for them. For everyone else, it's just another pain in the butt. Depends on the child's age. You got to be practical about it. It's a parent's job to make sure a small child is clean and tidy. Forcing a 5-year-old to have a sensible hairstyle that's not going to get them kicked out of school, or have them screaming every night when it's time to wash and brush it, is okay. Forcing a 15-year-old is not okay. When I was a little girl back in the 1960s, my mom kept my hair in a pixie cut. I still remember crying as I walked into my second grade classroom. I went straight to the coat closet and sobbed. It took me till 6th freaking grade to talk her into letting my hair grow out. It's abuse, people. Real abuse. 90s kid. I remember being 5 or 6 and having long, beautiful hair and dreaming of being Rapunzel one day. I tripped when helping to clear the dinner table one day, and I remember my mom screaming at me about getting food all in my hair. My next memory is having super short hair and being devastated that I couldn't be Rapunzel anymore. It's definitely still abuse. I had gorgeous waist-length hair for the longest time, but my father's side of the family always wanted me to change it. First it was perming it into these tight spiral curls so that it was several inches shorter, but since that didn't last long enough, eventually they turned to pressuring me to cutting it off. Just unrelentingly wearing me down day in and day out until I gave in. I remember how incredibly horrible I felt the first time I looked in the mirror. Going from waist-length hair to a long pixie was terrible. I vowed never to cut it again. Despite some continued pressure and even threats of either cutting it off in my sleep or putting gum in it so that I would have to cut it, I've never gone that short again since. I've never managed to regain the full length I used to have, but I'm fairly happy with it now. Why the F would they be so concerned with your hair? They aren't the ones caring for it. I can't even. Holy Bridezilla, Batman. Seriously, why on earth people get the idea that it's okay for them to dictate a semi-permanent change, inasmuch as once the hair's cut, that's it, you got to wait months/years for it to regrow that length again, for the privilege of attending their wedding. Sheesh. Personally, I'd be horribly tempted to rock up as a family in casual suits and wild hair colors at this point. But that's probably not diplomatic, and so not attending might be the wiser choice. Not the butthole. Original poster replies. It sucks, the rest of us were excited for a chance to dress up. My 5-year-old daughter, who is not a dress person at all, picked out a huge tulle skirt, top hat, and a slash t-shirt to wear. Apparently Sthel wasn't keen on that outfit either. I'm just really confused as to why your family is okay with your 15-year-old son taking a very non-traditional role in the wedding, flower dude, but not okay with his non-traditional male hair. I don't get why they're having the 15-year-old nephew being the flower dude when there's a 5-year-old niece. That's traditionally the kind of kid you pick for that role, but the wedding is still so formal that the kid needs to cut his hair to be in the wedding. Is a female teenager walking the rings down the aisle? What kind of wedding is so formal, yet so non-traditional as to require a haircut? Original poster replies. My son and brother have been pretty close. My brother wanted him to have a role in the wedding. I guess having a flower dude is a trend right now? I'm sorry to say this, but I doubt they will be very close anymore after this incident. The brother is an idiot to let that relationship go over something like this. That's so sad. Can y'all still get dressed up and go somewhere? Because your daughter's outfit sounds awesome and your son sounds like he could use the reminder he looks great with his hair just as he wants it. Not the butthole. You know who's going to remember the flower boy's hairstyle after the wedding? Literally no one. I've never agreed with this statement. I think people will remember a flower dude with big hair. But that they also will enjoy the memory. Oh, they should put flowers in the hair. Not the butthole. Long hair on men being seen as informal is such a double standard. As long as it's kempt, then it is appropriate. The bride asked him to be in the wedding, fully aware of what he looks like. This is akin to brides asking their bridesmaids to color their hair, or otherwise alter their appearance, to fit the aesthetic they're going for. Don't ask people to be in your wedding if you are going to nitpick the way they look. Period. Not the butthole. I truly don't understand people who think that the fact that they are getting married imbues them with some sort of power to dictate the hairstyles, hair color, tattoos, etc. of other people. Your son is doing them a favor by being in their wedding. You are doing them a favor by attending their wedding. Why are they acting like they're the ones doing you a favor? They are putting their feelings about a dumb haircut over family. Don't let them convince you that the roles are reversed. ETA, if any of them had a sense of humor, there's a great solution here. Just fully embrace the flower boy role and give him a flower crown to wear over his thick, curly locks, preferably with ribbons trailing on the back of it. Original poster replies. If only, smiley face, normally we all have great senses of humor, but I'm just floored that my normally laid-back family is being like this. Not the butthole. It sounds like they've been hating on the hair for a while and this is their chance to fix it. Go you for sticking up for your son. Take you all as you are, or they don't get any of you. Original poster replies. It has been a point of contention before. Original poster replies. He had a mohawk when he was little and while most people thought he looked cute, my parents weren't exactly fans. When he started letting it grow we couldn't believe how gorgeous the curl is. He's one of those boys that has hair women pay big bucks for. All the other men in the family tend toward short hair, either spiked or faded. Do not let him go to any trial run of his hair with her. She will attempt to have it cut there from the way this is going. Not the butthole. I would have responded laughing out loud to Gramps if he sent such a message. Not the butthole. Good for you to sticking with your kid. Sorry to say, your family, and family-to-be, are toxic control freaks. At this point, I'd opt out of the wedding entirely, but that might be too extreme for you. But giving in to this entitlement just speeds it more. This is quite simply unacceptable behavior. They are literally harassing your son. You can be the bigger person when they stop doing that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.